what's good, man? I just had to show some love, man, and some appreciation for the work you're doing, man, because this shit is definitely needed and it's definitely missing in this space. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you're in a lane of your own because nobody else out here is talking about the game the way you're talking about the game and breaking it down the way that you break it down in terms of like dynamics between the dom and the submissives and the sexual polarities between the masculine and the feminine. You know what I mean? Energies and the way that all that plays out within those dynamics. You know what I'm saying? This shit helped me out a lot, not only with myself, but it helped me out with getting the clarity and the understanding within the dynamics that I'm in with the women that I'm with. So, yo, man, keep up the greatness. I appreciate you, man, and I look forward to more content and learning more about this game, for real. But, man, stay up, man. Peace.
The way you snatch my soul got me leaning like activist. The way I stand up for your love and you feel like an activist. Wash your feet like after a worship service. Put your souls in my face and you know that I have to live. Eat you like a turnover, go back again. I'm going deep with my sermons, your service will tap the tip. All these claps and sounds like a concert. Baby, I'm a king, and you be my consort. Roy Kadesh, you giving me comfort. Intertwining flesh, you always gon' come first. Put your mind at ease, I'm making you calm first. Living waters that flowing and quenching a strong thirst. When I plant my seed, I give you a long burst. Even when we one flesh, you always gon' come first.
I think it's time for me to throw my hat, to throw my little 2 cents into this conversation that I keep seeing popping up, and I just don't think it's going to go away. I thought I addressed it when I first started my YouTube channel, like not too deep into it, but the conversation keeps coming up, so I think this is a great time for me to address it. I usually stay out of the whole 50-50 conversation. I usually stay out of it because I think it's stupid. I'm just going to be honest with you in the first place. I think it's dumb. But probably not for the reasons that you think I think it's dumb. You know, there's some people who go with the woman is the prize, the man's the prize conversation. My whole perspective is on understanding sexual polarity and the intersection between and the overlap between sexual polarity and dom-sub dynamics, right? Because something very important to understand is that sexual polarity and dom-sub dynamics do not care who has more money. They do not care who has more money. And in this day and age, there is nothing that you can get from a woman because you're paying bills that can't be flipped on you as some form of financial abuse or coercion. Even if you have the money to do it, even if that is what's going on, you can't do that anymore. That's not considered consensual behavior. That's not considered healthy behavior. Right. So I do want to get that off first and foremost before I even get into this. Right. So let me read a little something I wrote. I was going to put this on a Facebook post, and I thought it would be better off in audio form for a video. So I say I don't participate in those 50-50 conversations because, to be honest with you, I'm just an articulate, educated hood nigga. Right? Attraction and common interest has always been my focus with dating. But I tend to date women who make more money most of the time because they probably took school more serious or skipped college altogether to root themselves into a job for multiple years. I'm an artist, right? Most of those women have dated guys who have tried to hold making more money over their heads, or those guys got insecure if they were struggling financially. So someone like me who doesn't even factor money into conversations of who's quote unquote leading is refreshing to a lot of women, right? As a dom, do I like control? Absolutely. Will I settle for anything less? Hell fucking no. I'm not doing it. But I use that control to set a structure that I see is pretty fair, and it's communicated with the woman. And it's understood between the both of us. Like, I know how to see when a woman's dickmatized and ask her budget when she wants to take me out on a date or she wants to go on a trip with me. I know how to factor in a progress plan for how a woman is doing at work into my program. I know how to tell a woman no if she's given too much more than I am willing to reciprocate. I typically date women who make slightly to way more money than me, like 85% of the time. Sometimes it goes back and forth about who has more money, but I never tell women exactly how much money I have or don't have. But they typically tell me around how much they make, and I factor that in. When I make more, I pay more. And I don't have any issue with splurging on a woman who I feel deserves it. So let me present something to you that you probably haven't thought about. All right, and this is why understanding the overlap with dom-sub dynamics and sexual polarity is so powerful. Because once you get into understanding dom-sub dynamics, this is where you can really get into the conversation of degradation kinks. This is where you can get into the conversation of making sex work a form of role play that you consensually do between one another, right? I consider it CNC. It's consensual non-consent when you have an established dynamic. This is not legal advice, but this is what I'm telling to you, right? This is what people like to do. You got to understand, when women are saying, I like a man who's going to trick on me, they're not talking about a literal trick, right? They're not talking about a literal trick. They're talking about a guy that they are somewhat attracted to, who's willing to meet the standards of what makes them feel safe, what makes them feel comfortable, who is also willing to have a form of role play that makes sex transactional between the both of them, where he's spending money on her so she doesn't feel stupid about spending money on him, or vice versa, right? This is how it works. You know, those days aren't completely gone. There are definitely still some stomping down dirty leg hoes out here. Absolutely, there's women out here getting $40. But understand, unless you're talking about a woman who was doing serious drugs, $40 is not going to pay for sex. Right? It's not going to pay for that. $40 is going to be for the woman who already kind of likes you, but she's tepid in her interest. She's not that attracted to you. She's giving that pussy away to so many other niggas that you putting a little something in her pocket to show that you at least give a fraction of a fuck, it makes her feel more comfortable with giving up some of what's in her, right? Giving up some of that coochie. Right? So like people will say he shouldn't be putting something in your pussy if he's not putting something in your purse. But that's an old, outdated logic, right? Just like the logic that if you lose your job, you lose your woman. I'm going to tell you this right now. I've never lost a woman because I lost a job. Right? I've never lost a woman because I've lost a job. Right? That's why I stay out of these conversations, because for me, when like I have a different mentality than a lot of other men. Right? I don't get sexual dysfunction because my pockets are low. When my pockets get low, I fuck my way through it. You gotta have something to bring to the table. I dealt with a woman, a very wise woman, right? A very promiscuous woman, a strumpet. I loved her, right? That wasn't no issue for me. I told her the first night, let's be hoes together. But she had this mentality that was very what people would consider masculine, but she was like one of the most submissive women I've ever met. And her mentality was, listen, gas prices are expensive. So it's either ass, cash, gas, what you doing? You have to have something that you're bringing to the table when you come to a relationship. You have to know what that is. There's nothing wrong with you bringing sex to the table as a man. You damn sure should be bringing sex to the table as a man, because if sex ain't what she getting from you, if that woman love you enough, she just gonna get it from somebody else. If she don't love you, she just gonna leave unless you got something else. You bringing some other resources. But if a woman loves you and you're not bringing sex to the table, then she'll stay and just get that sex elsewhere. Understand that. You got to understand that when you are a dom, you have a program, you know, there's different things you have to know how to do. You have to know how to say no to a woman when she's giving too much. And that goes for both men and women. You have to know when somebody's doing more than you're able to reciprocate. And I saw this one video that I might put on this video. It might already be on here, right? where a man said, if I'm making 180K a year and you're making 60K a year, it would be fucked up for me to expect you to go 50-50 on everything. And I 100% agree. Absolutely. Now, you may never know how much money a woman really has. I've dated women before where they've had parents who would give them $5,000-$10,000 because they doing some nefarious things on the low, and they got some extra money to give them. So they may have a job working 40,000, making 30, 40,000, and I might have had a job making 30,000, something around that, 30, 40,000. But at the same time, they may be getting an extra 5, 10K a year, 15K a year in money that they're getting from their parents. Many women are taught to put money to the side, and this is why it's important to have a woman's body and to have her mind and to have her heart, because if a woman really respects you and she desires you and she loves you, when she gets something she's excited about, she's going to want to tell you that she got it. And this is where also you being a good leader is very important. I've had women in my life, multiple women in my life, where they knew they had more money than me, but they liked for me to be the one who would help them manage their resources or to help them manage their budget, right? That's what you do when you're a dom. When you're a dom and you're a daddy dom, that's part of the process of what comes with that. Sometimes a woman will want you to hold the money. Like, you have to know how to create that opening. You have to know how to create that opening to get into that validational loop with a woman. And once that opening has been created, you are then in a position where the next step for you to go is, because you've created that opening and you've attacked on it. Like when you first meet a woman and you having sex with her, if you meet a woman on the first night and she really, really wants to fuck you and you're not pressed about it, she might be like, oh, let me get a hotel room, right? She might, like, I've had multiple women in my life who, like, the first night we linked up, they were trying to give me the numbers to their cards. They were trying to give me, they were trying to pay me to have sex with them. Because if you get a woman horny enough, she knows that access to her body don't really mean that much. She want to give you access to the money. So when you're in that type of position with women, when you show that you know how to be a good steward, or you know how to tell her no, or you know how to tell her, no, baby, we ain't got to do that. We ain't got to go get this hotel room. Don't you live just this far away? Let's just go back to your place. You keep that money in your pocket. Right? When you know how to move in this particular way, but not in a way like you're simping or like you feel like you're too good for it. No, there's a time and a place for everything. Like there's times where I've been in dom sub dynamics with a woman where we would go back and forth between who had more money. When I had more money, I would pretty much act like I'm her sugar daddy. Now, to me, I don't feel comfortable trading money for sex. I just don't feel comfortable with that. Head, that might be a different story, depending on if the head good enough, or if it's clutch enough. I ain't gonna say too much, but there's been times in my life where all my women was way too far away, and I was working hard and I was tired. Right? But then there's also like times where, like, I give a woman assignments, little things she could do, and she do those things. I give her some money, and then. Or we just help each other out because we build up that type of relationship. But I've also had times where if I'm with a woman and I lost my job or things, I was going through financial hardships, where if a woman knows I'm working hard, I'm out here hustling, trying to get it so I can pay these bills, that woman might be like, shit, how much is you making? Like, for how much would it be for me to get a couple of days of your time? Because I need to get dick down, right? If a woman has that type of mentality, that's the type of woman you should deal with, right? And like a woman, I've had women pay for days off of my work schedule, right? What I would be making, like driving Uber or something like that, so that I could come through and take care of them. Because once you can really soothe them sugar walls, once you can really soothe the woman's mind and her body, and you help regulate her nervous system, she's in a position where that money don't really mean too much for her. You know how frivolously women spend money? It's just a matter of this. You like, it's not muzzling the ox. Right? You don't muzzle the ox. You're doing good work. You're doing the Lord's work. You're pulling a woman in the right direction. And when she's growing financially, when she's growing as a person under your leadership, under your tutelage, then of course she's going to want you to benefit from that growth, as long as she still has respect for you and she still has a soft spot for you, right? Especially that soft spot between her legs, that soft spot in her throat. So I stay out of 50-50 conversations because like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm just an somewhat educated hood nigga. So a lot of hood niggas that I know of, they come from a background in life where when you're trying to go off into education, you know you're going to be in school for a while. You may not make that much money when you're in college. You may not make that much money when you're in school. You in your environment, you see a bunch of the hood boogers, right? You see a bunch of these no limit soldiers. You see a bunch of these ratchet bitches. So you might want to go date the woman who's from a slightly higher economic status than you starting off. And in due time, if that relationship works out and things don't get thrown off of the path of your life, you'll eventually probably be making more than that woman. But let's say you off in school, you might have you a hood nigga, you might have a couple of white girls who just they like having them some armed candy, want somebody they can fuck with. You might have some girls from some more affluent areas who want a man who's a little bit rougher, and they might like women who really like you and you really laying that pipe down. They might pay for some of your books. They might pay for some of your tuition. They might really help you out because they want to see you succeed. Y'all niggas need to stop fucking with bitches who don't want to see you win.
It's for me, it's all about, your perspective and how you was raised. He said he was raised to, he was poor and he didn't think about, getting Jordans and stuff like that. And he wanted to look at it differently, how they did. I think we was all raised like that in the hood. We was all poor. We didn't have the money, and our parents, our parents couldn't afford it. As a teenager, you start looking for other ways, once you start making a way. But for me as a teenager, what I've learned, as a teenager, when I started, into that realm, once I was 16, we started going out and meeting women, you meeting women on, is that for me, it was like, hey, I grew up in the hood. I didn't want to date girls in the hood because I was poor. I didn't want to date other poor women. So I always dated girls who was more, they lived in that more affluent neighborhood, and so as I got older as an adult, I kept up with that same mentality. I've always had women who made more money than me. I was confident. I didn't care. I got through college. I got my degree because women made more money than me. They paid for my classes. I had a sister pay for the whole semester one time. Because it's just, that's what I like. And I gravitate towards that. And I attracted women who was in that, who had that financial stability to do that. And that was just what I like. And as a person, as going down that road in my life, but I didn't treat them bad. I didn't disrespect them, from my perspective. But then if you ask them, they be like, that nigga was horrible. But it's I think the world that we live in this world that it creates this mentality that, you have to be this go-getter. You got to go out and get it. Go out and get it. You got to get it. You got to make it. Instead of a world that's just like, it just be life. But that comes back to Western culture. Is opposite completely from the indigenous culture. But yeah, it's just about how you was raised, and I think a lot of us was raised in the hood, and when we grew up in poverty, and we didn't want to live like that anymore, and we seek opportunities to get out. Some of us, dealt with drugs. He said he never been to jail. I've been to jail. I've been to prison. And it's like, yeah, somewhere you don't want to go back to. It's like, fuck, I ain't trying to go back there. Like, goddamn.
So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You dated these women from affluent neighborhoods. You went to college. They paid for your schooling. And you still ended up in prison?
Oh, I went to prison before I went to college.
Okay.
I went to college afterwards. I was like, oh shit, I need to do something with my life. You know what I'm saying? It's like, shit, I need to do something. that was me.
So yeah, that mouthpiece go crazy. You know what? Because this is I guess this is my response to like a lot of the conversations about like the gender war stuff. Because when I see the people talk about the red pill stuff, most of the time they're talking about the most mainstream guys who are making arguments about money because that's what they have to offer. But a lot of the smaller content creators are going to focus more on what they call masculine sex appeal and sexual skills, and then your mouthpiece, or you know, the information that you're giving a woman. My whole thing from the very beginning of what I started and doing what I do is that there is no substitute for good deed and guidance. I don't think that for the going time period right now, that black men are just automatically going to jump to a position where we just shoot past all of the benefits that black women get over black men, because whether it's conservative or a liberal perspective, typically black women are going to be given more help because they're women. It just makes more sense. Most people look at the social hierarchy as if, you know, like, this is my issue with some liberals. They're going to assume that black men are placed above like black women as far as an intersectional group. But in the main like scheme of like the quote unquote unproven or disproven Willie Lynch letters in the white supremacy system, it only makes sense to put the black woman above the black men to disrupt the family system. So to me, I say, don't even worry about the financial part. Like, get what you can do what you can do, get your money together best way you can, but really work towards establishing some type of future. And if you got a woman who's messing with you the long way, and she has maybe a little bit more family backing, or she got a little bit more money on her, whatever it is, if y'all working together and you dealing honestly with her, she dealing honestly with you, I see that as it. I don't like, to me, maybe my brain is warped. There's nothing I've ever seen like a woman legitimately just want more. I'm not trying to speak for all women. I'm just saying in my own mind, from my own perception of reality, not posting this on anyone else. I've just seen all this gender war, all the feminine. I just seen like the cervix getting hit and all the feminism getting knocked out of women. I didn't seen women who were studs get the pussy knocked on the bottom of it. Now they got sundresses on. I don't know. I understand the power of dick. Right?
Okay, so
right? It's not about who broke or who got money and none of that. Focus on women who actually like you. Focus on women who are actually attracted to you. And most of these issues, most of these arguments about 50-50 are never going to come up. These conversations don't come up for women. And I'm going to say this right here. I mean, for women who actually like the men that they're with. I'm going to say this right here. Right? I don't fuck with the sprinkle bitches. And maybe they fuck with me and they hate to see me coming, or they fuck with me and they be quiet about it because they know none of that's gonna run over here. But I'm gonna say something right here, right? When it comes to a lot of these different things, I make content not just for men, but I also make content for the women who say in the back of their mind, I'm going to sit this one out. I'm going to be quiet on this one because I know I like to spoil my man. I'm going to be quiet on this one because I know I like to do this, or I know I like to do that. I know if I like that man, I'm going to trick on him. I know I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that for him. I like to take care of my man. Lover girls. I make content for them as well, right? I make content for the women who got the degradation kinks, for the women who like to do things a certain way, right? You don't have to, like, there is no cost financially to be the boss in a relationship in our culture, because any way of trying to leverage financial resources is an abuse of power that can end you up in a bad financial or legal situation, right? You have to understand that. Like, you might say, I saw this post on Facebook the other day, and the post said, women want a man to pay bills, but they don't want what comes with a man paying bills. Don't nothing come with a man paying bills except for that man pay the bills. Maybe his name is on a lease. And listen, the person whose name is on the lease ain't necessarily always who paying the majority of the bills. A lot of hood niggas who don't have the same mentality that I have, they'll get a girl who has maybe better credit, more established credit, because maybe your parents put some bills in your name as they were growing up, took out loans in their names, bought cars in their name, paid those bills off, kept those bills paid up. So by the time those women, reached a certain age, their credit was already built up. Right? That doesn't happen as much with men in the community. So, The man might be working a blue collar job, might be working construction, might be welding. He might be working some type of job where he has cash flow. He has money coming in, but this economy is run mostly off of credit. So if he has the cash and she has the ability to put something in her name, that's a power couple from a hood nigga perspective, right? Just like, you know, you got the drug dealer and the CNA, right? The street pharmacist and the pharmacy tech. Like, that's just how things work, right? That's just how a lot of things work. But the hard part about it is that when you're dealing with women who don't really respect you and they don't value you, or you stick around beyond the expiration date of a relationship, that's where a woman's going to be more inclined towards putting you out. Or if you're a liar type of dude and you want to sell a woman this fantasy that you're going to be monogamous with her, and you know good and hell well you don't have the capacity to be monogamous, and you're sitting here lying to this woman and get her caught up in some bullshit, now she feels disrespected on a deep level, and she's going to reciprocate that disrespect to you in one way or another. And one of those ways is by putting your ass out the house. Man, listen. It would just be like that sometimes. It'd be like that sometimes. Like, I remember when I first started like really making some money, right? When I first started really making some money, this is what I did, because I started doing dating and sex coaching, and my motto has always been biology first. My motto has always been based off of flowing off of a woman's sexual attraction towards me. So when I started making money, I was like, you know what? I started getting this itch to trick, because I wasn't used to having money, but I wasn't able to do it. Like, I probably tried to trick a couple times and I got finessed. So tricking ain't really for me. I'm just much better at it. And the funny thing was, the bitches wasn't even more attractive. They wasn't even better bitches. It was just like, I don't have a game for tricking like that, right? But what I'll say is this. I said the amount of money that I'd be willing to spend on it, that is the allotted budget I would have towards reciprocating a woman who's getting on the program. And not only that, but, and this is going to sound crazy, but when I really started making some money, I had my car, I would go to different cities on the weekend, and I would say, okay, who can I sling some dick on to have a place to stay for the weekend? Just to keep my sword sharp, just to keep my blade sharp, just so I could do what I do and make sure I don't lose track of who I am and how I move, just because I got a little bit of bread. So I was like, all right, cool. I would go to different cities for the weekend, you know, North Carolina, South Carolina, and I would spend time with those women, and I would lay some pipe on them and, you know, do what I do with it and have a good time. And sometimes women be like giving me keys to the house or just invite me back, wanting me to keep my clothes over there, stuff like that. And then I would just get a routine together with different women. And when you're honest with women, this doesn't even lead to an issue. This doesn't lead to an issue. I got some stories to tell about that, but I'm going to tell that at a different time. So, you know, the whole 50-50 conversation is stupid to me. Right? You cannot earn submission. Submission is not based off of who pays for what. Listen, you can pay for, like, I'll tell you the truth about it. The honesty about it is this. People do have cups, right? People do have their different capacities for different things. There's soft switching, right? You know, the masculine submissive exercises and self-control. That does depend on how much energy somebody has in their cup. And that is where the love language conversation comes in. But that's more so get around social programming. If the attraction and the respect, the desire, if those things are not high enough, then it's going to take more and more you have to pour in to get the same amount back, or to get even less back over time. And that is like the death by 1,000 cuts that takes place in long-term relationships for many men. I'd say for most men. It's happened to me before. So, like, you can buy cooperation, you know, intrinsic desire. And I'll say this, even intrinsic desire does not equal unlimited resources. A person does need to feel poured back into in some type of way, right? They do need to feel that. You know, even if that is them pouring back into themselves. Shit, a woman, if you can use your penis power the right way, you can put a woman on a program where she's doing more self-love, she's doing more self-care, and because she's pouring less energy out, because you're creating a centralized place of authority where you're not getting in the way of her taking care of her responsibilities with her family and her friends and her work environment, and because you're not trying to isolate the woman, but you're just centralizing a focal point for certain things that need to get done, you can make it so that a woman is taking care of herself better, therefore she has more to give, without you even having to give a woman a whole bunch more. But that's a level of game most men don't have. If you're able to do these type of things, you have a different overall experience with the women that you deal with. It's not the same as what a lot of guys talk about. And you don't have to be super attractive to do it. You don't have to be some quote unquote baddie version of a nigga. You don't have to be a super nigga. No, listen, I'm about 5'9", maybe 5'10". I don't know. I don't want to know. Height is arbitrary to me. I don't care about that, man. I got a beer gut. I'm not like some nigga with a six pack or nothing like that. Like, I got a dad bod. I got a bald head. Listen, my hairline was gone before I got out of high school, for real, right? By the time I got out of high school, I couldn't grow an afro no more. I was bald in my high school graduation, right? I don't have no super deep voice. You hear my voice? You know how much I had to smoke to get my voice this deep? Man, you can go back 4 or 5 years ago and listen to my YouTube videos, and I cringe hearing my voice in those videos. And I was moving how I'm moving now back then, right? Of course, I've elevated my game some since then, but it's the same core ideas. Man, there's some times when my cup gets low and I got to go listen to my old videos to slap myself back into a mind frame of, oh, nigga, you slipping. You slipping, right? You know, Coach Brody Dharma. But if you want some coaching, if you want to better understand how to operate the way I'm talking about operating, just hit me up, man. Hit me up. It's $40 coaching consultations. $AMARIBALL. $AMARIBALL. And it'll say Coach Brody, right? So hit a nigga up. I help you with some archetypes and some Jungian psychology, understanding the anima, the biology first approach, dominant empathy, submissive empathy, all these different things. If you need some advice for this, dating and sex coaching, that's one of those things I do. I also do boxing coaching. If you're in the Florence area, Florence, South Carolina, then I also do boxing coaching, right? Undefeated amateur boxer, got 10 years of experience as a boxing coach, and I'm only 30 years old, right? Well, pretty much 11 years of boxing coaching experience now. I was the assistant coach when I was 19. Rest in peace to Coach Larry James. But yeah, man, I think this is some very important information to share with people. You have to know how to play that game. You got to know how to play that game, because this is going to be the difference between you losing your hair real early, the way I lost my hair real early, letting these bitches stress me out. Can't be doing all that, man. You don't want to age yourself too fast. So, hit me up if you need some coaching. This is Coach Brody. I am out.
Got through with a coaching session, and man, the gentleman, he really charged me up for real. You know what I'm saying? He got a reservoir of wealth and knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Don't sleep on him. He gonna put you up on game. He gonna make sure you get there. You know what I'm saying? He gonna give you more than the bang for your buck. You know what I'm saying? So just hit him up and get in tune with him. He got his spiritual eye open, so he gonna let you know the ups and downs of this shit, man.
Come on, man. Y'all motherfuckers know I'm the Pervy Sage.